The heavens were silent. The land of Israel groaned under foreign rule. For decades, the Philistines had crushed the spirit of God's people. But in the midst of oppression, a promise was whispered in the dark.
You will bear a son.
The words came from a radiant figure whose face shone like lightning. Manoah's wife trembled, her barren womb suddenly filled with hope.
He shall be a Nazarite from birth. No razor shall touch his head. No wine shall pass his lips. No dead thing shall he touch. For this child will begin to deliver Israel from the hand of the Philistines.
When Manoah heard the news, he prayed,
Lord, let the man of God come again and teach us what we should do for the child who will be born.
And God heard him. Once more the angel appeared, repeating the sacred vow. Manoah, overwhelmed by the divine presence, offered a sacrifice upon a rock. As flames rose toward heaven, the angel ascended in the fire. Only then did they understand. They had seen the face of God and lived. Months passed, and the promise was fulfilled. A son was born. They named him Samson. And as he grew, the Spirit of the Lord began to stir in him, like a storm gathering strength. His hair grew long and untamed, a visible sign of his covenant with God. The oppression of the Philistines continued. The people of Israel suffered silently, hoping for deliverance. Their spirits crushed by years of servitude. The elders mourned for freedom lost. The priests prayed for mercy, and the youth knew nothing but subjugation. Some waited for a warrior king to rise, but God had chosen an unlikely champion. Samson had grown into a man of unusual strength and unpredictable character. His parents raised him according to the angel's instructions, yet his heart remained a mystery even to them. He spent his days roaming the hills between Zorah and Eshtaol, where the boundary between Israel and Philistia blurred. There he observed the enemy. There he felt the stirring of desires that troubled his parents. There he waited for his purpose to be revealed, one that until now had remained hidden. Then Manoah, Samson's father, spoke with concern.
Why do you look toward the daughters of the uncircumcised, Samson? Are there not women among your own people?
Samson answered with defiance.
I have seen a woman in Timnah, a daughter of the Philistines. Get her for me as my wife.
Manoah exchanged worried glances with his wife.
My son, the Philistines are our oppressors. Their gods are an abomination. Why would you join with them?
This is from the Lord.
Samson replied, though he himself did not fully understand the stirring in his heart.
Through this, he seeks an occasion against the Philistines.
Manoah did not respond because deep inside, he remembered the angel's words that his son would begin to deliver Israel. But in the depths of his heart, something told him this path would lead to sorrow. Until one day, the Spirit of the Lord moved. It happened suddenly. Samson was walking the road to Timnah with his parents when a young lion came roaring toward them. His parents fled in terror, but something awakened in Samson. The Spirit of God rushed upon him with power. The impossible became possible. With his bare hands, he tore the lion apart as easily as one might tear a young goat. When his parents returned, he said nothing of what had happened. Days later, Samson passed that way again. In the carcass of the lion, bees had made their home. Honey dripped from the body of death. Samson reached in and took the sweetness, eating as he walked and sharing it with his parents, never revealing its source, never considering that he had broken his Nazarite vow by touching the dead. The marriage feast was prepared in Timnah. 30 Philistine companions were assigned to Samson, watching him with suspicion and pride. Samson's eyes gleamed with challenge.
Let me pose a riddle. If you can solve it within these 7 days of feasting, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. But if you cannot, you must give the same to me.
Speak your riddle,
they demanded.
Out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet.
For 3 days they pondered the words, but found no answer. On the 4th day their frustration turned to anger. They approached Samson's new wife with threats.
Entice your husband to explain the riddle, or we will burn you and your father's house with fire. Did you invite us here only to impoverish us?
Samson's wife clung to him, weeping.
You hate me. You do not love me. You have posed a riddle to my people but have not told me the answer.
Behold, I have not told my father or my mother. Why should I tell you?
But she wept before him for the remainder of the feast until his resolve broke. On the 7th day, he told her the answer, and she immediately betrayed him to her people. Before the sun went down, the Philistines came to Samson with smug satisfaction.
What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion?
Samson's eyes darkened with fury.
If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle.
The Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him again. He went down to Ashkelon, struck down 30 men, took their belongings, and gave them to those who had explained the riddle. Then, burning with anger, he returned to his father's house, leaving his wife behind. During the wheat harvest, Samson went to visit his wife, bringing a young goat as a gift. But when he arrived, her father blocked his way. "I truly thought you hated her," the man stammered, "so I gave her to your companion. Is not her younger sister more beautiful? Take her instead." Rage consumed Samson. His voice trembled with vengeance.
This time I shall be blameless regarding the Philistines when I do them harm.
He caught 300 foxes, tied them tail to tail in pairs, fastened a torch between each pair, and set the torches ablaze. Then he released them into the standing grain of the Philistines, burning up not only the grain, but the vineyards and olive groves as well. When the Philistines discovered the cause, they took Samson's wife and her father and burned them with fire. The very fate she had feared came upon her through her betrayal.
Since you have done this, I will surely take revenge on you, and after that I will cease.
Samson declared. He attacked them with great slaughter, striking them hip and thigh. then went down and stayed in the cleft of the rock of Etam. The Philistines came up and encamped in Judah. 3,000 men of Judah came to Samson, trembling with fear.
Do you not know that the Philistines rule over us? What have you done to us?
As they did to me, so I have done to them.
Samson replied without remorse.
We have come to bind you and deliver you to the Philistines.
Samson looked at them with disappointment. His own people, surrendering without a fight, binding their deliverer.
Swear to me that you will not kill me yourselves.
We will not kill you, but we will bind you and give you into their hands.
They bound him with 2 new ropes and brought him up from the rock. When he came to Lehi, the Philistines came shouting to meet him. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. The ropes on his arms became like flax that has caught fire. The bonds melted off his hands. Finding a fresh jawbone of a donkey, he seized it and struck down 1,000 men.
With the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps. With the jawbone of a donkey, I have slain 1,000 men.
Samson was exultant in victory, but soon thirst overwhelmed him.
You have given this great deliverance by the hand of your servant. And shall I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?
God split open the hollow place at Lehi, and water came out. Samson drank, his spirit revived, and he judged Israel for 20 years. After this, Samson went to Gaza and saw a prostitute there. He went into her, breaking another part of his sacred vow. When the Gazites surrounded him to kill him at dawn, he rose at midnight, took hold of the doors of the city gate and the 2 posts, pulled them up, bar and all, put them on his shoulders, and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. Pride grew in Samson's heart. He had never known defeat. His strength seemed limitless, but his weakness remained, the desires of his heart. In time he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek. Her name was Delilah. Her beauty was matched only by her cunning. When the lords of the Philistines heard of Samson's affection, they came to her with silver in their hands. "Seduce him," they whispered, "and find out where his great strength lies, and how we may overpower him, that we may bind him to afflict him. Each of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver." Delilah's eyes gleamed at the fortune offered. She approached Samson with sweet words and gentle touches.
Please tell me where your great strength lies, and how you might be bound that one could subdue you.
Samson looked at her with amusement. Did she think him a fool?
If they bind me with 7 fresh bowstrings, not yet dried, then I shall become weak and be like any other man.
The lords of the Philistines brought her 7 fresh bowstrings, and while Samson slept, she bound him with them. Men waited in the inner chamber, ready to take him.
The Philistines are upon you, Samson.
Samson awoke and snapped the bowstrings as a thread of flax breaks when it touches fire. The secret of his strength remained hidden. Delilah's face hardened with determination.
You have mocked me and told me lies. Now please tell me how you might be bound.
If they bind me securely with new ropes that have never been used, then I shall become weak and be like any other man.
Again she bound him while he slept, and again she cried out.
The Philistines are upon you, Samson.
He broke the ropes off his arms like thread. Frustration grew in Delilah's heart, but so did her resolve.
Until now, you have mocked me and told me lies. Tell me how you might be bound.
If you weave the 7 locks of my head with the web and fasten it with the pin, then I shall become weak and be like any other man.
While he slept, she did so, but when she cried out the warning, he awoke and pulled out the pin, the loom, and the web. For days Delilah pressed him, her words like daggers to his heart.
How can you say, "I love you," when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me these 3 times and have not told me where your great strength lies.
Day after day she nagged and pressed until his soul was vexed to death. Finally, Samson's heart broke open. The secret he had carried all his life spilled out like water.
No razor has ever come upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite to God from my mother's womb. If I am shaven, then my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man.
Delilah knew he had spoken the truth at last. She sent for the lords of the Philistines.
Come up once more, for he has told me all his heart.
They came, bringing the silver in their hands. She made him sleep on her knees and called for a man to shave off the 7 locks of his head. His strength began to leave him, though he did not know it. Then she cried out.
The Philistines are upon you, Samson.
He awoke from his sleep and thought,
I will go out as before, at other times, and shake myself free.
But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. The Philistines seized him, blinded him, and brought him down to Gaza. They bound him with bronze fetters, and he ground at the mill in the prison. Day after day, the mighty judge of Israel pushed the grinding stone in circles, his spirit crushed. The Philistines rejoiced, offering sacrifices to their god Dagon, saying,
Our God has delivered our enemy into our hands, the destroyer of our country, who has slain many of us.
But as Samson circled the mill in darkness, something began to stir again. Slowly, imperceptibly, his hair began to grow. On the day of a great sacrifice to Dagon, the lords of the Philistines gathered in the temple. 3,000 spectators crowded the building, filling the roof and galleries to see their enemy humiliated. They called for Samson to be brought out to entertain them. He was led by the hand of a young boy to the center of the temple, between the main pillars that supported the structure.
O Lord God, remember me, I pray. Strengthen me, I pray, just this once, O God, that I may with one blow take vengeance on the Philistines for my 2 eyes.
Samson said to the lad who held his hand,
Let me feel the pillars which support the temple, so that I can lean on them.
Then he reached out, his hands finding the 2 central pillars upon which the temple stood.
Let me die with the Philistines.
Samson cried out to God. With renewed strength, he pushed against the pillars with all his might. The temple collapsed, killing Samson along with all the lords of the Philistines, and the multitude gathered there. In death, Samson killed more than he had during his life. His family came and took away his body, burying him in the tomb of his father Manoah. He had judged Israel 20 years, and so ended the life of Samson, who in weakness found strength, and in death found victory. For though Israel strayed, God never broke his promise. Because when God appoints a deliverer, even the greatest defeat can become triumph. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the story of Samson and Delilah. This video has taken a lot of time, resources, and effort from our team, but it has been extremely rewarding. We wanted to spread the word of God in a respectful and faithful manner. If you enjoyed it or got something valuable out of the video, let us know or help us by sharing it. We'll feel grateful for the support, and we'll continue to make more faithful adaptations of biblical stories.